Happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
Boing.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet for wiener.
Now listen, Libertius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are in the second hour. It is the Barbecue Central Show, where we talk about the most important things happening in the world of barbecue and grilling. Still to come on this show this evening, Chris Young from Combustion Inc. and at Chris Young Cooks on YouTube. Closing it out with Daniel Vaughn from Texas Monthly, tmbbq.com, his website. And we say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show to watch, or you can watch on YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we have a new YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. Would you rather pull a tooth with a pair of pliers or brand yourself with a cattle prod? And currently 56% of you, now it has gone back to 56% of you, are saying that you would rather get burned. You would rather brand yourself, which is burning, brand yourself with a cattle prod than pull a tooth out with a pair of pliers. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. Hey, again, if you are just tuning in and you missed the first hour, no worries. We are recording audibly video auto archives after the show ends here this evening. You can go back and watch the full 2 hours if you want on loop. Certainly up to you. Audibly, you will get it wherever you get your audio podcasts. Hour number 1 tomorrow. You will get hour number 2 on Thursday. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday, you will get episode 411, taking you back to December 20th, 2011. Anybody remember that day and why that's important? How about showing up on Friday? You see it each and every year for however long we've been doing the Best Moments show. I believe we're going perhaps into year 4 or year 5 of this, maybe year 10, whatever it is, whatever 411 episodes is. Is it 8 years? I believe it might be 8 years. It is the 12 days of barbecue Christmas. So, if you've never heard it before, 14 years ago, almost to the day. Actually, let's see. 16. Tomorrow was 17, 18. Oh, my goodness. 14 years, almost to the literal day, on the 20th of December. Myself, along with my 14 years younger daughters. So that would be a 10-year-old Bobby, an 8-year-old Maddie, 7-year-old Maddie, and a 6-year-old Marley sang a Christmas tune, which I entitled the 12 Days of Barbecue Christmas. Now, while we were, let's call it the talent on what you're going to hear this coming Friday, in case you've missed it in years past or when it actually aired 14 years ago. 14 years ago? Yeah, 14 years ago. The couple of the pitmasters over at Hot Grill on Grill Action, that being a Matt Frampton and a Logan Hendrickson, decided to write a song to the tune or the likeness of the 12 Days of Christmas. But instead, we wrote about barbecue things. So on the first day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me a case of cold Coors Light. on the second day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me 2 whatever it was and a case of cold Coors Light. I'm saying that in a certain way because when you come and listen to it perhaps for the first time on Friday, you will understand Light and how that recurs through the rest of the song. So, songwriting credits to the Pizziola de Pizziola, Matt Frampton and his pal Logan Hendrickson. Hope you guys are doing well. But Maddie and Marley and Bobby and myself laying down the vocal tracks to that song. So if you've never heard it before, make sure that you are subscribed to the show's podcast feed by going to the website, thebbqcentralshow.com/subscribe, and then pick your favorite podcast catcher or platform, and then be ready to have your minds blown. The hell was that? Something disconnected. I appear to be on the air still, so we'll take it. Prepare to have your minds blown with a song written, skill and tact beyond reproach, and then the delivery between what were very, young girls at the time and your humble host here. I swear we're minutes away from getting yanked off the air on the global internet. Why is it making that sound? You're going to enjoy it. And I would venture a guess that this could become a Christmas or holiday song that you add into your repertoire, no matter what holiday you are celebrating. So I hope you enjoy it when we get there on Friday. Don't forget, if you want to hear a guest or a segment again that has been lost in the archives, email John. Let him know what you would like to hear. John, Jon, at thebbqcentralshow.com. That's Jon at thebbqcentralshow.com. Email from David Yule, Lord Greg, by the way, a correct address. An associate of mine is trying to define ownership of an AI-generated piece of music when it was used to create a theme song, which is pretty strong in my musical opinion. Did you ever discuss the copyright details with the guy that did your song? Do you own it? Does the AI platform own it? Does the guy that created it own it? Do you have any insight onto this topic? Or is all of that way above your head, like when I sat in calculus that one time? I'm also thinking that maybe that was something you never even thought about. Dare I say, never a blip on the radar for either of you, both songwriter and recipient of song. Many thanks for any info. And yes, I would like to nominate Robert Moss and Malcolm and Wes for double Hall of Fame induction. How about that? I might even nominate Rochelle Reed, seeing as you may be the only pod she will ever do. That's like a holy grail booking. Regards, David. Now, David, to answer your question, was that even a blip on my radar? Well, the fact of the matter is this. First time I heard Get in the Smoke, the new official Barbecue Central Show's theme song, I listened to it again, and I listened to it again, and I listened to it again in successive times, in successive fashion. I thought, hey, this is a pretty effing good song. What did I do? I got right on the blower. Who did I hit up? Official trademark attorney to the Barbecue Central Show. You know her, you love her. Suzanne Moskowitz, Moskowitz Firm. Elite trademark lawyer, not only the Barbecue Stars, but stars in general. Both local to Cleveland, the region, and dare I say, the country. If you're ever looking to trademark anything, go to the Moskowitz Firm. Let her know that I have referred you over there so you can protect whatever it is you're looking to protect. I'm not saying you're going to get a discount by any stretch of the imagination, but I am saying I trusted her with my stuff. I would trust her with your stuff. And I shot over an email. I said, hey, just got the song from a fan. I really like it. Thinking about trying to figure out a way to protect it. FYI, A, here's a copy, but B, this is an AI-generated song. David, the long and the short of it is this. Is Suzanne Moskowitz an AI expert and confident lawyer to speak on this during the show? Did I invite her? Yes. Did she decline? Yes. Why? Because she's not an expert directly as it relates to AI protection of this type of material. However, initially when I talked to her, she said, well, while AI is great, there has already been a myriad of lawsuits going around and potential filings on trying to protect this or that. And the long and the short of it is there's a lot of conversations that are probably going to be had in the future about who owns what when AI generates it. The music, the lyrics. Is the person that's teaching the AI interface really the owner? If it's sent to me to have and to use, is it a gift? Am I now the owner? I thought I was the owner. That's why I reached out to Suzanne in the first place. Those are the only answers I have for you right now, David. It seems to be a lot more complicated than we want it to be. And just because you made it on AI doesn't mean you own it. Just because it was sent to you and now you are in receipt of it doesn't mean that you own it, nor does it mean you have any way of protecting it necessarily. However, I'm sure for a fee, Suzanne would be happy to look into that for you. For as much as I love the AI-generated new theme song of the show, I'm not looking to spend thousands of dollars to protect it. Like, do we want to do a group buy-in here so nobody else takes it? I don't know. I don't think anybody else is looking to take it. It's very specific to me. As I get more information on this, though, David and Central Lights, I will pass it along to you. Chris Young is in the green room. Before we get to him, I will talk to you quickly about our friends over at Big Papa Smokers. The holiday season is here. Light up the holidays with Big Papa Smokers. From award-winning barbecue gift bundles to game-changing Green Mountain grills and Mac pellet grills, and the legendary Big Papa Drum Smoker, they've got perfect gifts to fire up every backyard. And right now, get $10 off your next order of $50 or more when you use promo code REMPE at checkout, REMPE. Plus, for limited time, every order now comes with a free bottle of Big Papa's Cucaracha. Hello! A little heat to spice up your holiday season. So whoop-de-doo and dickory-dock. Visit BigPopSmokers.com and light up the holiday with bold flavors, legendary gear, and gifts that smoke the competition. Offer valid now through December 31st. So they have 2 weeks left. 2 weeks and 1 day. Again, 10% off your next order of $50 or more when you use promo code REMPE, REMPE, at checkout. And that's BigPapaSmokers.com. Offer valid now through December 31st. We're back with Chris Young right after this. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
And we welcome you back into the show. Leading off the second hour tonight, the creator of the predictive thermometer system and company called Combustion Inc. He's also turning out some of, if not the best cooking content on his YouTube channel at Chris Young Cooks. We're currently 288,000 subscribers are tuning into such content, up plus 70,000 over the last time we talked to him. So if you aren't subscribed to it, head on over, sub up so you don't miss anything new. And we race to the hotline and welcome back our pal, Chris Young, to the show. Chris, we have a new Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. Chris, would you rather pull a tooth with a pair of pliers or brand yourself with a cattle prod?
Ooh.
Ooh, I think the cattle prod.
Yes.
I think the branding.
56% of the YouTube voting public in agreement with you and me. I thought maybe pulling a tooth would be less painful, but I couldn't get over the hearing of the tooth getting ripped out of my head. I think the burn
that sounds
really
like pure
hurt.
torture.
Yes, so I thought, between the two, plus, it when it heals, you have this really cool brand on your arm.
I mean, as a former chef, I've branded myself plenty of times by accident in the kitchen.
Yeah, do you have those like fireproof fingertips that all the chefs have now?
Yeah, they're not what they were in my 20s and early 30s, but they're still, by most people's standards, they're asbestos.
So we want to talk about the YouTube channel here, and we'll get to that second part of the conversation. But first out of the gate, let's talk about Combustion and the business and kind of where we're at. So from a high level here, as we get ready to close the books on 2025, where do you see Combustion Inc. right now?
I mean, we're starting to deliver on all the things I want to deliver, not without delays, not without this being an incredibly challenging year with craziness around tariffs that we're shifting sands every damn week on top of the usual challenges of bringing a new product. But we've just shipped our giant grow gauge to all the pre-order customers. We are actually, we are actually in stock. I can't figure out which way to tilt it. There we go. We're actually in stock. There's a little bit left. We've sold out, I think, of one of the versions, but we have a little bit left in time for Christmas delivery. The last day for Christmas delivery for anything from Combustion is tomorrow. So place your order. But we've also massively updated the mobile apps this year. So there's a bunch of new features. There's a clean new interface, which our customers are liking, that really designed to manage dozens of probes if you have it in a really sort of convenient sort of command center sort of view. So I'm pretty happy with what we've gotten done this year. We have a few Christmas surprises coming for our mobile app that if the developers hit the deadline, we'll ship out just before Christmas. They are a popularly requested feature. And then we've got the combustion engine probably coming in Q1 next year. That got delayed by the delays to the giant grow gauge. But we've started to put out the first system of products I really wanted, where we're going to let you control your grills in ways that you've never been able to control. For example, you can use your predictive thermometer with the combustion engine, with the giant grill gauge, to control the surface temperature, to control the stall as things cook. So there's a lot of possibilities that I think in 2026 we're going to finally be able to unlock and give people control over their barbecue that they've never had before. So I'm excited about that. I've wanted to do it for years.
You're one of the smartest people within this industry. I believe, if we're going to say torches are being passed from one person to another, where Meathead really was hitting his stride, let's say 10, 11, 12 years ago, especially on the heels of his first book. You seem to be really not taking over, but being looked at as a guy that is myth busting and doing a lot of science stuff. There's a lot of this you're seeing on YouTube and all this fun stuff. I guess the long-winded question is, I can see where somebody like you and having a mind like you have, you want to be able to control all these, or you want to be able to manipulate all of these things during a cook. Are you hearing from the customer base that, hey, Chris, we also think like you, we also want this level of minutia control?
I think what is very, very interesting is we have a particular point of view with our products, which is we want to give you information and access to information you've never had before, so that you can go as far as you want to go with your cooking. We have a lot of customers. My mother, who is 76 years old, cooks livers and onions and banana bread for her grandson using our predictive thermometer. And for her, she doesn't use the app. She uses the display. She's happy with it. But we also have customers, many of them on our subreddit, that are starting to gain intuition for how cooking really works. And they're talking about how it, really levels them up. I'm always personally very pleased when somebody is an owner of my product, they see my YouTube video on the 6-hour brisket, or, my rotisserie chicken that's actually on Instagram. And they're skeptical, because it breaks with tradition. But, when they come back on Reddit and say, I was really skeptical, but it's the best brisket I've ever made, or it was the best roast chicken I've ever made, and the tool helped and the knowledge helped. For me, that's the business I've been in for 25, 30 years of, helping people have a great meal. And when I was a chef in restaurants, it was about cooking for people and serving great meals. Now I'm a tool builder helping people cook for themselves. But, there's a through line there for me. And so I'm delighted that we have customers that love that. It's not all of them. Some want the simple features, but the ones that really want to push the limits of what's possible, I think we do the best job for those customers of anybody on the market.
You have the predictive thermometer, the big grill gauge is out. You had mentioned the combustion engine is also going to be coming out, all working, let's call it, within the same ecosystem. Do you see 2 years, 3 years down the road where you have a litany of ecosystem-friendly products that are interacting with each other?
Yes, and I think that has always been the plan going back to, I've been in the IoT world since 2013 with Joule and Chef Steps before that, which, a lot of painful lessons were learned about what I consider the right way to do it, where stuff just works, versus sort of the walled garden. Oh, you've got to create an account and, this won't work with that. We've taken a very open approach. We have an open API. You can build your own apps for it, but we have product roadmap going well out into 2028. And, hardware products take a long time. They always take longer than I want. Some of our customers are rightfully frustrated with me about that, but we try to, I think we've always ultimately delivered on that. And there will be more products coming in 26, 27, and 28 that continue to give you tools to do whatever you want to do, whether it's outdoor cooking or indoor cooking, that just can help you be a better cook. And that's kind of my purpose. That's what I love doing.
So I feel in a certain way I've been able to get a unique look into your business to a very limited degree. And what I mean by that is it seems that every product that you have brought to market, and you have just kind of confirmed what I was going to say, takes longer to actually land than
Always.
You want it to. And there have been delays for one reason or another. So as somebody who was selling to a consumer base who was really rabid to get their hands on these products, how are you battling with that and then also making sure the customer remains confident that they're going to get the product that they want and it's going to work?
I think there's lots of different approaches to this, but the first thing is to recognize we're not Apple. I don't have $1 trillion. I can't spend 5 years not talking to my customers and then just showing up one day and going, surprise, it's here. We want our customers to come on the journey with us. We try to take care of the people that bet on us early. If there's a problem with the early product, we have always replaced it. There's things we learned from our customers. There's feedback that comes into Reddit or to our support while the product's getting developed. And we have had occasions where we say, we could ship this, but that's a really good idea, and this would make this a better product, and I will delay it. Thankfully, I am not accountable to venture capitalists or outside investors that put pressure on me to, artificially hit a target. We try to ship the best product possible, but I think it's a philosophical thing that we ship the product, we continually iterate on it, and yes, the product does get better very, very quickly. We have replaced a significant number of our very earliest products because of some of the limitations. Thankfully, I'm happy to say that, products we've made in the last 2 years, really, they're as reliable as just about anything gets in this category. Grill Gauge has some delays and teething problems, but I think it is delivering on the promise. We're happy with the early feedback for customers. We're happy with the way they're responding to the design. There's certainly people saying, "Oh, we wish you had made it this way," but there's a reason. We had to make a product that works. There's a gazillion different grills out there. It's easy to imagine a better way, for example, that this should attach to your specific grill, but we have to make it work on, Big Green Eggs. We have to make it work on a Weber Genesis. These all are slightly different grills, and we have to try to cover them as widely as possible. A good example is, I did not realize how thick the wall is in a Kamado Komodo. It's over 3 inches thick. So our sensor tube just barely sticks out of it. You can't even capture it. So, I was on the factory with on the phone with our factory and with my designer saying, okay, we need to make a special run of extra long sensor tubes. And how fast can we do that? Can we do that in 4 weeks? I think if you believe, if you want to support a company that takes that kind of attitude of hearing something on Reddit, learning from it, and within 24 hours is already working to make that product better for you, then I think we're the company for you and we will look after you for the long term. And that's not a lot of companies.
If I had to take one away from you, as far as ability to do it, would you rather have me take away your ability to cook or your ability to invent?
Oh God, maybe just shoot me. It's a bit of a dodge, but I'm going to say I think there are many. There are people I have worked with who are truly brilliant inventors and can invent in just about any domain. I think my world is I am a cook. I have been a chef at some great restaurants. I have worked on that trade and that craft for almost 30 years now. It's what lets me invent solutions, I think, for this particular category as well as I do. So I think if you took away the cooking, you'd be taking away the inventing. I think if you took away the inventing and I was just back to cooking, well, I'd be pretty sad because I like making tools for people. I tend, as I get older, I tend to think of myself as a tool maker more than anything else.
Not to sound like I don't know the industry here, but while I know a lot of chefs, I know a lot of really highline chefs. I've had them here on the show. Mm-hmm. I mostly know if they're bringing products, it's either a cookbook or it's a run of knives. I don't know if I've met anybody that has the wherewithal to create what you have. So you might be one of one in the industry.
I don't know a lot of people like me, but there's I've been very blessed to have some amazing mentors and some people that gave me opportunities. Like Gabe Newell, who backed Chef Steps, or Nathan Mirvold, who helped create Modernist Cuisine. Working with people like that who are just brilliant minds, brilliant creators, and learning how to tackle these big, ambitious projects. I wouldn't be doing it if I hadn't had the really good fortune to work with those people. So it didn't come out of nowhere. I've been very lucky to work with some amazing people over my life.
What is going on with that YouTube channel that you have going on, Chris? I mean, I'm such a fan. I think the production that you are putting out and certainly the education, the entertainment, as I had said in the beginning of the show, short of saying the cooking guy, I don't know if there is anybody that I'm waiting for the next video to show up in the feed than it is of the Chris Young Cooks account. So, like, when you're doing, for instance, you do I'm going to pass these baked ribbed off to these Texas Pitmasters and see, like, probably 50 or 1,000 easier ways to do that video. And you shoot like a mini real movie. Like, what kind of budget are we looking at for that? And how does that even come together?
Oh, I wish we had a real budget for that. That was every favor and arm twisting that I could pull off. I actually wrote an 18,000 word blog post at chrisyoungcooks.com if you really want to read the whole backstory of how that nonsense came together. But the short answer is it's a very small team that makes my videos with me. Some of them I have worked with since my Chef Steps days. Some of them are new. They're the people I shoot the actual video with are in Seattle, but I have an editor and editors that I work with in Milan. I have special effects people in Brooklyn that I work with. It's, and different projects get different things. It's always on a shoestring budget. It's certainly far more expensive than your average YouTube video, and we are trying to make something that feels like it should belong on Netflix, maybe more than YouTube. Yep. And I enjoy writing the story. I enjoy figuring out the shots. Like I've sort of late in life discovered I really like making these stories, and I'm always trying to figure out how to make them more entertaining, more engaging, but also not dumbing them down, or going for just clickbait or for whatever is trending on YouTube. There's stories I want to tell, and I'm in a position to do that now. In terms of how a video like Breaking Ribs comes together, I think the video before that was the 6-hour brisket, which was really talking about collagen breakdown and some of what I know as somebody who was a chemist once upon a time that I don't think is well explained in the barbecue community, that it's always time and temperature and that you can manipulate those to control time. so that was the brisket video. The other side of it is, what is smoke? What's really in smoke? Smoke's not just this, it's not magic. And it is something that I think a lot of people, do a very bad job of using as a cook. You see a lot of people soaking wood chips, which is just guaranteed. It's going to look smoky, but it's going to taste sour. It's going to taste awful. And so I wanted to cover the science of that. But then the question is, like, how do you make that an interesting story? What are the stakes? I think at a certain level, it's kind of fun to see if I'm going to fall on my ass. And so the most ambitious thing I could think to do is, well, I'm going to basically show you what smoke is. I'm going to show you what liquid smoke is and how I can turn smoke into liquid smoke. And that's kind of got a chemist thing. So, of course, the most well-known chemist out there is Walter White. That's how you get to redoing the pilot episode of Breaking Bad in the deserts of Eastern Washington in a borrowed RV. But I decided, you got to go to Austin. I've got to really put it out there. I served I served the first version to a friend in the Seattle area, Jeff at Jeff's Texas Barbecue, which Jeff's from Texas. He does a great job. Easily the best barbecue, I think, in Washington State. But to really up the level, I wanted to put it in front of some of the best pit masters I know. And I happen to know Evan Leroy and Joe Yim at Leroy and Lewis in Austin, which, is certainly way up there in terms of can I convince them that these ribs are legit? And it wasn't scripted. It wasn't rehearsed. Everything you saw happen on camera. I had no idea what they were going to say when we started filming that. And they were very kind.
What's the next big myth bust or next big video that you're going to be working on we should be paying attention to?
I've got a video I have wanted to make for years. It's outside of the barbecue space. It's maybe a little more appropriate for winter, where this is a good time to be stocking up on chicken stock and making soups and braises and just, filling comfort food. But, the chicken stock that comes out of a box is it's just gross. People just don't appreciate that one of the things that makes restaurant cooking so much better is that we have great stock. It's the, foundation. We're always stock, butter, salt, we're throwing it into all the food and it makes things better. One of the things I did when I first was working as a chef at the Fat Duck restaurant in the UK, which had won 3 stars, was voted best restaurant in the world. One of my first jobs when I became their head development chef was to reinvent how we made stocks. And I came up with a way, using my training as a chemist, to basically reduce the amount of ingredients we had by half, speed the cooking time by a factor of 4, and come up with a stock that was even better than the traditional way we made it. And I want, this is something where, maybe some restaurant chefs know about this and we'll do it this way, but I'd never seen, anybody do this at home. And so I wanted to give people a way that they could make chicken stock that's as good as the best restaurant in the world, but in 60 minutes for under $6 for a half gallon of chicken stock. Wow. And the secret is, starts at Costco with a rotisserie chicken, but the rest of it will be in a video that's coming out on Friday that I think people I hope they're going to like it. It's certainly one of the more ambitious videos we've done this year. And
that's saying a lot,
I'm at that point where yeah, I know. We had a couple ambitious ones this year, but I think people will get a lot out of it. I hope there's a lot of practical takeaways. And, I'm looking forward to making a bunch more slightly mad, slightly controversial YouTube videos in 2026. And we'll get back to more things to do with steak and barbecue as we get back into the spring.
Chris, always appreciate the time. Continued success over at Combustion, and we will continue to look for those great videos. Appreciate you coming on tonight.
Thanks for having us. Merry Christmas.
You got it. Merry Christmas to you as well. Chris Young right there, and his YouTube channel at Chris Young Cooks. Subscribe if you aren't already, and his website, combustion.inc. Combustion.inc. Daniel Vaughn is in the green room, ready to close out his last visit in 2025. And before we get to him, we talk to you about McAuliffe Cigars. Step into the world of McAuliffe Cigars, where each blend is a chapter in a grand tale of craftsmanship and passion. Their portfolio is a symphony of flavors, each note carefully composed to create an unforgettable Nicaraguan smoking experience. For instance, the McAuliffe Color Series, the McAuliffe Black Crown 2023 Cigar of the Year by the Cigar Authority, The blend, a masterpiece of rich, bold flavors. McAuliffe Blue, a harmonious blend that dances on the palate with elegance and depth. McAuliffe Red, my second favorite, a vibrant expression of flavor, capturing the spirit of adventure and McAuliffe. Of course, there's also McAuliffe Purple and the newer McAuliffe Green with the Matafina wrapper. That's my one. So black 1A and McAuliffe Green 1B. And depending on which one I'm smoking, 1A and 1B might vary as well. But red is definitely number 2. Go to McAuliffeCigars.com and check out the entire products portfolio. McAuliffe is spelled MICALLEF, McAuliffeCigars.com. By the way, use the locator to find a retailer nearest you. We're back with Daniel Vaughn right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Chris Young for joining us last segment. Once again, his website is combustion.inc. And the YouTube at Chris Young Cooks, youtube.com/. Helping me close the show tonight, making his last appearance here in 2025, the barbecue editor over at Texas Monthly Magazine. You also see him on the show for quarterly visits throughout the year as we talk about things going on in and around Texas and the world in general. Did I mention he's a member of the inaugural class of Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Famers? Please help me welcome back Daniel Vaughn to the show. Daniel, we have a would you rather YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including our guests. Would you rather pull a tooth with a pair of pliers or brand yourself with a cattle prod?
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. I would guess brand myself. Oh. Yeah. I mean, the tooth, I guess I'd be gone forever, wouldn't it?
Well, yes, gone forever. I'm more worried of being able to, I've had some teeth extracted in my life, and you don't feel the pain, but you can hear the ripping out of your head because, the tooth wasn't ready to come out of its own accord. So you can hear all the roots and shit ripping out. That's kind of most troubling to me. I've burned myself plenty of times cooking, inside, outside, what have you, and feel that, if I'm going to brand myself, maybe I'll go at it with the Barbecue Central Show logo, like my friends that were doing the Black Frats at Ohio University. They were getting Sigma and Alpha burned into them as they were crossing the line, doing whatever. And I said, well, geez, that probably hurt really bad, but now it looks really cool. So where you have a gap in your mouth, here you have a really cool burn tattoo on your forearm or on your shoulder.
Well, but when you said extract a tooth from your mouth, I didn't think that meant like having any sort of painkillers or numbing.
No.
That, yeah. That would be really, really painful. And then you have the gap in your mouth, like you said.
No, we don't want any of that. Look, I've become enamored with the open fire meetup that Al Fragoni hosts and has hosted over the past handful of years. Is that something you even care about?
It's not that I don't care about it. It's it is. I haven't ever been to it because it is 1 week after our big Texas Monthly Barbecue Festival, and it is always the same weekend as Meat Fight, which is a charity barbecue event that I've been involved with since it started. Back in the founder's backyard. So I've been with Meat Fight and been part of it for many, many years now. And so it's always the same weekend, and it's in Dallas. So a long way from Hondo. But I mean, certainly the images that come out of there, it looks like a lot of fun, and it looks like certainly a little different way of thinking about barbecue than just, smoked meats.
What's Meat Fight?
Meat Fight is, Alice Lasad is the CEO of Meat Fight, and she started it as a way to raise money for, initially for MS research, and now really for bicycles for MS patients, which the bicycles are really helpful in the treatment. And so it is a barbecue competition where local chefs, not barbecue pitmasters, are the cooks, and it is pitmasters from around the state that come in to be the judges. So it's fun. It's a little different. We certainly get a little different take on barbecue, but it's all for a great charity.
So turning back to this open fire meetup, Al has partnered with Memphis in May to have their own open fire world championship at the 2026 event this year, or this upcoming year. So I don't recall Memphis in May adding any kind of new cooking ancillary in years, perhaps maybe ever. And on a scale,
it was huge.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, and 10 being stone cold lead pipe lock, where do you think this type of popularity of open fire cooking style will land with the everyday ham and egger in the backyard?
Well, I think stone cold lead pipe lock. I mean, there are certainly plenty of people who have a smoker in their backyard and are happy to do a brisket over the weekend, but there are a whole lot more people who are, grilling chicken and steaks and burgers directly over their charcoal. And so, I think seeing the creativity that can come from when you sort of open things up, right? I think the barbecue competitions themselves, whether it's Memphis in May or the others, they've become pretty stodgy, right? They're the same old stuff. You can recognize, you open up that box and you can recognize it immediately as competition barbecue and nothing but competition barbecue because it all pretty much looks the same. So I think bringing in live fire and, bringing in that experimentation and being able to have just a much broader look at what is considered competition worthy. I think it'll be a whole lot of fun.
There was some talk, as I had Al on a couple of weeks ago, about rolling this out on more of a national scale. So not independent events that he's running, but maybe bolting an open fire contest onto a KCBS event or some other type of cooking event that might be happening over the course of the weekend. Could you see a success starting along those lines and then having what I guess would be tantamount to a KCBS style sanctioning body / number of events in this type of cooking event? Or do you feel its ultimate success would be in addition to something else that's already taking place?
I mean, I think you could certainly find success as something outside of this singular event. I mean, it really just comes down to the rule book, right? What do they create? Sort of what are the boundaries that they create to hem this in? I think a lot of it, like if you look at barbecue television, right? You've got the Food Network has their Barbecue Brawl. And then you've got Netflix with the Barbecue Showdown. Barbecue Showdown, I see as, it's sort of the KCBS of TV shows, right? It's the expectations of the judges are what you're trying to meet. Whereas Barbecue Brawl, it's like, is that really barbecue? I don't know, but it's cooking with fire and it's fun. And in the end, it just comes down to what tastes great. And so it allows that freedom. And I think that show is a whole lot more interesting to watch than Barbecue Showdown is. So maybe in competition, maybe in an actual barbecue competition, it'd be more fun to witness as well.
Earlier in the month, you did a story on barbecue Casey Lee's Family Craft Barbecue. And
yes, too many names in that barbecue joint name, but that's the one.
So the story really glows with how different some of their offerings are, or how they're serving what would be otherwise traditional barbecue meats and proteins. Only open on Saturdays, and I'm not here to question their thought process, but why bother being open one day a week?
Well, I mean, the biggest reason is that they have full-time jobs outside of it. They were able to construct the building in an inexpensive enough way, I guess, that it doesn't require, sort of payback and profits on a daily basis. Honestly, something I didn't include in the story is that there's a mill that's right behind them. And when the mill closes down and does not, is not sort of spewing the smoke and the dust during the week that it normally does, that they would look at opening up more days of the week. But they're in a prime spot for weekends. They're right there in downtown Flatonia, but during the weekday they are right next to that mill, and it's just not the greatest place to have a restaurant. I mean, to me, though, the more interesting thing was that they had decided just not to cook brisket every day. Finally, a Texas barbecue joint saying, we don't need to have brisket every week. And we can still have different beef cuts, but it doesn't have to be brisket.
So I believe in the story they were buying brisket at whatever time that was. Let's call it just shy of $9 a pound. And we're seeing, as a consumer, going into a lot of places, Texas and or otherwise, half a pound at $20 and a full pound towards $40. Is that right? I mean, is the cost to the buyer $9 and then you're triple or quadruple the amount by the time it gets to retail?
Yeah. I mean, wow. If you take a 10-pound brisket and by the time you have done the trimming and you've done the smoking and then what you can actually serve, you're talking about 50% of that. So, if you're paying $8 a pound for it, you're really paying $16 a pound for what you can actually serve. And if you just look at standard restaurant food costs, who look at 33% being the food cost that is their target, then you'd need to charge 3 times whatever that is. And I think for the longest time, restaurants have been able to hide, barbecue joints have been able to hide that, I guess, that lost leader of brisket and make up with it with other cuts. But everything else is just so much more expensive now. And I don't mean just the meats. I just mean every item that they're purchasing and using in that restaurant is just more expensive. So, taking a hit on brisket is just not something they can do anymore. And then in the case of Casey Lee's, they just said, we can get our tri-tip from Heart Brand Beef, which is, lucky for them, right down the street. Their headquarters is right down the street, and they get a good deal on those tri-tips, but they're getting them for like $12 a pound, which might sound high until you consider that they're able to serve 90% of that because they're only cooking them to medium. So they're not cooking all the water out of them. They don't have to do a whole lot of trimming on them like you would a brisket. So they have a whole lot more saleable meat out of that tri-tip than and a whole lot less time cooking it as well. So the only thing they're missing is they don't get all that trim that you might make sausages with, but they have their sausage made for them, so that doesn't really affect them.
So if you have somebody like you writing about them, verbalizing to you, hey, we don't necessarily believe that we need to have brisket on the menu at all times in order to be a success. And oh, by the way, we're doing the tri-tip and they do the beef cheek chopped beef sandwich, blah, blah, blah. Are they a potential inspiration to where maybe a bigger name now might also decide to try that, and all of a sudden 6 months from now we're talking about how Casey Lee's was the place that got everybody to start ditching brisket off the menu at regularity?
Yeah, I don't know if a once a week barbecue joint in Flatonia is going to make that much of an impact, but certainly gets the conversation started. And for them, they've still got to see if it's successful, right? They are still kind of unsure about how people might react. They said the biggest hurdle is really when that customer walks in on a Saturday and is like, I need 4 pounds of barbecue. Like, well, if you're in the Carolinas, that means 4 pounds of chopped pork. And if you're in Texas, that means 4 pounds of probably sliced brisket. So if that isn't available, then what is that 4 pounds? What smoked meat are you optioning out there for them to take home with them?
Is it incorrect for me to think that if I'm going to Texas, anywhere, it's incumbent upon me as the consumer to do a little due diligence. It's widely available anywhere and everywhere, whether I'm going to your site or Texas Monthly Top 50, whatever, to see what they're offering. I mean, you'll easily be able to see this is something they're offering. So if you're choosing to go there, I almost feel like you're kind of a dope if you go knowing what I know already, and I'm probably never going to go there, but I wouldn't go expecting brisket. But if you're going to show up there, isn't that a little bit of a faux pas on the consumer's side?
I wouldn't say that because, I mean, you're talking like 98% of Texas barbecue joints. You can walk in and get sliced brisket, pork ribs, and sausage. That is on nearly every barbecue menu in Texas. Yeah. So walking into a place where even one of those is not available would, I think, be a surprise to people. I think what I'm seeing more often is barbecue joints who decide to, instead of throwing on 20 briskets for a Saturday, like maybe we're going to throw on 10 this time, and we're going to sell out a brisket a little earlier, so we can say that we sold out a brisket, that we had brisket. You were just too late as a customer, and so just force people to buy something else in that way. Use that use that method instead.
What was the worst trend in live fire this year?
The worst trend in live fire. I mean, so much of the live fire that I am exposed to is via Instagram, via the reels, and I mean, it's still squeezing meat. I mean,
that's what Wes Wright said in the first hour. Cookoutnews.com.
It's just like, I get that you want to show that it's juicy, but like, why are you wringing out your meat like a towel? Like that is what, like, you spent all that time cooking that piece of meat, hopefully so that it has all that juice in the meat, that you can eat it and enjoy it. And enjoy that juice while you're, while you're chewing it up. So to squeeze it all out, we don't have to all be. Who's the guy from Turkey? The Nusret Steakhouse. Anyway, we all don't have to be Salt Bae out there. Showing off our meat and squeezing it like that.
What do you think the best trend was this year?
Oh man, I don't know if I have a good answer for you. Best trend, I don't know if. What was your favorite trend?
I don't know if I had a favorite. There wasn't one that really took me for a ride this year. My least favorite trend was the reemergence of smoked cream cheese. I thought that was bullshit the first time it came around, and then it seemed like 2 months ago, all of a sudden it boomeranged back around. I don't know if it was like, I told Wes in the first hour, maybe it was because football season came back on, people are looking for side dishes or whatever to do at a tailgate or a party at their house. Somehow it got steam again and boomeranged back around, but I hated it the first time. I hate it equally as much the second time. I mean, I don't even know if 2025 had a lot of great good or bad trends. Maybe this was a year that we were able to escape a lot of bullshit, not butter candle or, a bunch of the other bullshit that was coming up. So, which can only mean that we're going to be screwed in 2026. There's got to be a makeup somewhere. I agree. I think tallow is a little bit of a fad that I don't really buy into.
I think I'm a little more generous when it comes to the tallow. I guess as a trend, the best thing I saw is just getting every bit of everything that you can out of your brisket, right? Like, there's no more throwing away trim or fat. Like, it's going to get turned into sausage, which is the old school way to do it, or burgers. It's going to get turned into ground beef in some way. Picadillo, if you're at 2M Smokehouse there in San Antonio, they just had their picadillo and mac and cheese is called their Pitmaster Helper, and it was just named one of the best dishes in America by the New York Times. Like, this is basically hamburger helper, a very good version of it. Or, using the fat for tallow, and that tallow, there's a lot of people who are selling it, but I see a lot of people using it in their fryers, and certainly using it on their briskets when they're wrapping it up, or using it for any other purposes in their restaurant. So I'd say, from an efficiency standpoint, and just from just straight up respect for what you're paying for these animals, for these cuts of meat, to be able to use and make sure that you're using every bit of it, essentially because it is so expensive. I'd say that's the best trend that I saw.
What should we be on the lookout for early part of 26? Anything from a news standpoint that you're working on that we should know about, or you think there's going to be a trend that pops up here as the year turns that we need to be on the lookout for?
Well, I mean, one of the things that we talked about before we came on was, what we wanted to discuss this time. And you was like the bests and the worsts. And I mean, the worst is all the closures. I mean, we're starting to see barbecue joints, and really great barbecue joints, who are closing. It started a few months back with Brick's Barbecue in Fort Worth. Was one of my favorites, and they just couldn't make a go of it. Brett's Barbecue in Katy, Texas is another one that I think by this time next week will be closed. Sabre Barbecue, one of the barbecue joints in our top 50. They just announced they were closing. Hill City Chop House in Toller, outside of Dallas, also announced toward the end of the year is going to be their last day of service, and I think we're going to see more of it. I think the profit margins are just so slim. The number of barbecue joints is still, it's too high. There's so much competition out there that this sort of evening out, or this settling of just the number of barbecue joints was going to happen. But it's certainly sad to see these families and pitmasters who put so much into their business having to call it quits and give up on their investment. I
forget the name of the guy is. He's some other food writer out of Texas. He did a pretty in-depth article on Jeer. Just stand by just for 1 second here. Gotta get this cat.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry about that.
Oh, meow.
Fucker. So he did a fairly in-depth article on him not being so sure if it was worth Michelin star, the price that people were paying, what they were actually getting out of it, and the number of restaurants within the designated area that was paying to get out of it. When you look back on Texas and Michelin star and the cities that paid, do you feel like they got value for money paid?
I think they certainly got value for the amount of coverage. I think as we're now our second year in, the second year of Michelin stars were handed out in last month, and there just wasn't a whole lot of news because mostly it was everybody retained their star, and I think there was one or two new ones given out. I think Texas fared better than, say, like Boston, who, they had a pretty rough go of it when their stars or lack thereof were announced. I think Texas is getting some bang for its buck. And it's a 3-year contract anyway. So, I think they certainly got that publicity in year one, and we'll see if it continues after year 3.
Any big story you're working on we can get teased on?
Oh man. You know what? I'm going to be taking a break for the last 2 weeks of the year. I got a note from my editor that I had a whole lot of PTO left over, and so I needed to take some time off. There are a number of spots outside of Texas that I really want to get to, and I've got to schedule those trips. And a lot of them are going to be in the Raleigh, Durham area. Lawrence Barbecue is one I really want to get to. So I want to get out there and get outside of Texas and try some of these newer barbecue joints. Basically, if Robert Moss is eating there and they're in his top 50 and I haven't eaten there, then I want to get to it. I want to give it a try. So pretty much all those spots are on my list. And then I don't know if it's barbecue news, but I did just buy a airline ticket to Cleveland.
Oh yeah,
I'll be arriving
on purpose.
See in January. Yeah,
wow.
Coming the first Saturday right after New Year's. So if you want to get some barbecue, or maybe head over to Larder, whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah, all right.
If you're going to be around.
Yeah, let's circle up offline and see if we can't make those connections happen. Certainly love to do that for sure. Especially anybody looking to come of their own accord to the greater Cleveland area at this time of the year, as you had mentioned. So Daniel Vaughn is here. You can find him at tmbbq.com and read about what he's writing and what his takes are in the Texas and barbecue community in general. Daniel, appreciate 2025, the visits, all the information, the banter and candor as always, and look forward to doing it again in 2026.
Always love talking to you.
All right, take care. There he is, Daniel Vaughn right there. And maybe we see Daniel here in just a few short weeks, so that would certainly be a treat to me. No doubt about it. So looking forward to connecting with Daniel offline to see if we can make those happen. We have a Houston trip coming up that first full week, but maybe he's coming in right before that. So we'll work it out. If I'm in town, I'm down. That's the rhyme I've always lived by. That's what I subscribe by. So if I'm in town, I'm down, no doubt. All right, let's get ready to wrap the show. Stick around, and we'll be right back.
Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Daniel Vaughn for joining us last segment. TMBBQ.com at BBQ Snob on social media if you'd like to follow him and see what he's talking about on the blower at BBQ Snob. Always worth the follow just to see what he's up to or what he might have a hot take on, no pun intended. All right, all the way back in the first hour, Wes Wright joined us. I gave you a Chicago recap. I told you how not to blow a $40 tip on a $200 steak. So if you're a server, hopefully you paid attention on that. What the right thing to do is, what the wrong thing to do is. Wrong. Second hour, Chris Young at Chris Young Cooks on YouTube, Combustion.inc for products. And again, closing it out with Daniel Vaughn, TMBBQ.com, the website, at BBQ Snob on social. Big show planned for you next week. Fourth Tuesday of the month means a visit from the embedded correspondents at a minimum, plus many other things as well. We'll be days away at that point on Christmas and well through Hanukkah at that point as well. So, how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. This is your program host and proud U.S. American Greg Rempe saying, Shamo!
Hi, this is Austin Parsons, Pitmaster with Smoky Mountain Q in Nashville, Tennessee, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.